What's the crack? Welcome back to the Irish Boys podcast. Here again with Kieran and Mum to talk about all things United in what has been a chaotic week. So Mum and I went and visited Manchester last week and went and seen the Brighton game, which was a very different story to what we all witnessed yesterday. So starting off in positivity, can we give Carrick a 5-year contract?
No.
No. That's weird.
Okay, so the first question, we're going to talk about a few things there. I want to talk about Michael Carrick coming in. It's been a crazy week. I want to talk about the Brighton game. And I think we'll finish off talking about what the expectation should be for Carrick and Manchester United this season after yesterday. So first off, to dive into it, Darren Fletcher comes in and does an alright sort of job. Then United pivots and Michael Carrick comes in and beats City in what I thought was the best performance I've seen United play in the last at least 18 months. I can't even remember a performance like that under Ten Hag. I know we won a few big games under Ten Hag, but not like that. What is the main difference between Darren Fletcher's United and Michael Carrick's United?
He was just up for it. I think the game, it was testament to that game that they gave 100% when Casemiro ran himself into the ground, as did Bruno Fernandes. And they were like a walking pace before they took them off. Plus, going forward at the back, and Harry Maguire was immense yesterday.
Mm-hmm. But when you say up for it, is that a worry then? That they couldn't get themselves up for it with Darren Fletcher? But if it's as simple as that, if it's as simple as it was an effort thing, they put more effort in yesterday, what does that say about those group of lads, that they didn't put that effort in under Ruben Amorim and Darren Fletcher? If it's that simple, Mum, then is that a negative?
That's the question.
I think that it has to do with the system as well. Maybe they were given more freedom yesterday. Maybe he had them up for it and, the United way and all this and crack, you know what I'm saying? And prove to yourselves that you are capable for playing for Man United. And it just seemed more driven yesterday. And it was all this sideways passes with, Ruben Amorim, and even under Fletcher, the 2 games that he was in charge, they pushed the ball forward. Like when they broke yesterday, it was like watching an old Man United team, that counter-attacking style.
But I think...
Yeah. You have to take into the equation that City backline is not their normal City, but it was sort of like a patchwork of young lads, and stuff like that, and that would have to be taken into the equation as well. Like we should have really, it ended up 2-0. We should have beat them about 5 or 6.
Yeah, they were poor.
But I think it has to do probably not just Michael Carrick. Look, we all know, not even Man United, but a team get a new manager, it's the new manager bounce.
But they didn't under Fletcher, that's the thing. They didn't bounce.
That's what I'm saying. They seem to play with more
freedom,
more determination. Yeah.
But is that Carrick? Do you credit Carrick with that? Or do you simply say, there was more effort yesterday? Because that could be taken 2 ways. You could take it as a real negative to turn around and say, they put a shift in yesterday. Brilliant. Thank you for doing that for the first time in 18 months. Or you could turn around and say, no, it was Michael Carrick. Michael Carrick got them up for it. Yeah,
but when you looked at the lineup yesterday, Rory, and I think you even alluded to it in the group chat, he dropped Cunha. He dropped Sesko.
I was really annoyed that he dropped Cunha.
Because he dropped Ronaldo for the first game he was in charge. But I think there's a lot of variables in yesterday's game. It's not just down to Michael Carrick.
Okay. But then why couldn't Fletcher do it?
Well, Fletcher kept Sesko, and Fletcher didn't really change formation, did he?
So it's team selection. But Fletcher didn't change formation to Michael Carrick. Both played the same system. Yeah,
but that's what I said. He picked a system, or he picked the personnel that he thought could beat Man City by dropping Sesko, dropping Mount, dropping Cunha. Now, when I looked at that team sheet, I thought, other managers were trying to shoehorn everybody in. Yeah. The characters looked, and that's what they're saying when he was at Middlesbrough at the start. It went wrong for him at the end. But at the start, he was not afraid to make big choices.
Yeah, I think...
And I think he said it himself, that he had players on the bench that could change a game. Mm-hmm. And you need that during a match.
I think he said yesterday, it's a 90-minute game. People players come on and make an impact. How many times have we looked at the bench in the last few weeks and it's been a bench of kids and Malasia and crap? Do you know what I mean? When you look at the bench yesterday, and we had Mount, Cunha, Sesko, players that can come on and do something. And I think I was thinking about it in my head yesterday after I had the chat after the game. You know, that it worked, whatever setup we went with. But when you think about it, like many times, if you look at the opposition, look at City and the game they play, if you play Sesko off top, right, he's going to be isolated. He's going to be out of the game. You know, playing him, like how many times we've seen them, like Bruno, where somebody played the false 9 role. But when you put like pure pace in that front line of Mbeumo, Ahmad, straight back in, you know, they were there to be got on the counter in transition as well with the speed of the front player.
Counter-attacking team.
But he didn't. I'm sorry, that's the second time I've heard that, and he did not.
As if he set them up.
He did not set them up as a counter-attacking team. I'm not having that. It's the second person that has said that to me, and that is a real dig at Michael Carrick's brilliance yesterday, because he did not set them up as a counter-attacking team. He conceded possession when City had possession in their defence and their midfield, as every team in the Premier League has to, because that is the boring Guardiola tactics. They did nothing in Manchester United's half. They did absolutely nothing to impact the game yesterday. I can't put my finger on a chance that they had to point to. He nullified and destroyed Pep Guardiola tactically yesterday. He did not set a counter-attacking team up. He dominated Man City.
He scored a counter-attacking goal, transition goal.
The best teams in the world dominate a football game and can punish you for making mistakes. They made a mistake. Rico Lewis went too far forward for the first goal, but Manchester United had 3 or 4 chances before that were not counter-attacking chances. Ahmed Diallo's when he got the ball out wide and they spread play and he came inside and shot, and then Casemiro should have scored past Buffon. That was not counter-attacking. That was brilliant. He moved Man City to one side of the football pitch, spread the ball to the other side of the football pitch, and then from that side they came in and attacked. And who used to do that masterfully and effectively? Alex Ferguson.
Yep.
For the first time since Alex Ferguson went out the door, I watched the Man United team yesterday that had Ferguson's philosophies of play. Dorgu and Diallo were picked because they're wide and they're quick, and they hugged the touchlines. So if you spread the ball, they can move quickly beyond the Man City team and get in behind it. I haven't seen Manchester United try and do that in years. The midfield sat and absorbed everything that City wanted to do in front of them, and then closed the space around the City players when the City players came in. Now, there were a few instances where it didn't work, but Manchester United don't have 11 players to play that system at the minute. But not to get him a high horse, but he did not set a counter-attacking team up yesterday. He set a team up that didn't respect Man City, the second best team in the league, after United being dogged and abused by every pundit under the sun this week, that Haaland would lift Martinez up and run with him, that City were far too strong for us to even consider getting a point against. And he just reverted to the Manchester United DNA. Spread the ball wide, move them around the pitch, and when they make mistakes, kill them for it. And that's what they did. It wasn't counter-attacking. It was the United of old.
I have to say, right, it was like watching, entertainment from start to finish. And it's been a long time. I said this yesterday. It's been a long time since I looked forward to watch Match of the Day. And
I was the same. It wasn't last night.
It was absolutely glorious. And you're right. It was like watching, you know, in a bit of 99, wee bit of weight. It was like just like pure Fergie ball, pure United DNA football, as the tagline is this week with all the pundits and journalists and whatever. But it was fantastic to watch start to finish. A nice TV clip yesterday of United actually taking the mick, ticky-tack and passing 1-2 out around City, around Pep City.
Yeah.
You know,
around the masters of keeping the ball.
Like what? Where's this team been? You know, I think you can credit somebody to Carrick, and you know, he had 3 days, and you know, and that's why I'm a bit not as hoping as you were, like 5-year contract. I'm like, I'd love to be, but I've just been that down with all thought. But I had a good game under Hammer, or I had a good game under Ten Hag, or beat City, or beat them. But like, yes, we're going somewhere, and then downhill. But I think Carrick.
Yeah, I think my hopium comes from 2 dynamics I seen yesterday that was very different to any other manager that I've seen investigated. And Carrick was in charge of us before, but I think it was a different team, right? I was fuming when he dropped Cunha and Sesko. Fuming. Didn't understand what he was thinking. And then I watched the game back and I thought, that's genius. That's 1990s football. You just played two really quick wingers out on the wings with Brian and Bumo in behind Man City. And yes, there is counter-attacking elements to that because the speed up front was intended to punish Man City. But if you look at the second goal, the third goal, the Ahmed Diallo goal, Manchester United just moved City around the pitch because Dorgu was able to come out wide and offer an outlet on the left, and Diallo was able to come out right and offer an outlet. Two wingers that wanted to get beyond and punish City, and it just worked so well. And I think I was looking at it going, do you know who would be phenomenal in this? The likes of Shea Lacey or old school wingers that want to get to the byline and want to get inside those areas. They're going to love that because it's a throwback from Michael Carrick. And I think, not to get too hopium-esque, it was Ferguson's football. It was everything that Alex Ferguson would have preached to the teams that he managed. And I have to eat my words now. For so long we said, United need to evolve, United need to move on, United need to do this. No, they don't. They don't. They are a team that was built on the philosophies of moving the ball around the pitch and not respecting the opposition, believing you can beat anybody. And I think that was there yesterday. So in 3 days' time, Carrick put in, I think, a different philosophy. It'd be interesting to see the Arsenal game, whether United can replicate that, or whether it was just the emotion of having the handbrake pulled off yesterday and being told, you are good enough. You can beat City. Don't respect City. When City pass the ball around you, don't respect it. Don't let them do that. Just go at them. So I am full of hopium right now. I think Michael Carrick threw it back to what he was used to when he played football, and I'm really glad to see that.
Yeah, it shows it still works.
Yeah, it was simple. It was in the overcomplicatedness of Manchester United and the tactical setups that we have played over the years. Michael Carrick gave Bruno Fernandes a free role, told Casemiro and Kobe Mainoo to keep it tight and protect the defence, and told the two wingers to spread the pitch.
Simple.
Genius.
Playing players in the proper position, having Bruno in the 10. What?
Yeah.
Shaw playing fullback. Shaw facing Semenyo up and saying, I can go with you all day, lad. You're not running beyond me.
Genius.
Yeah, and I think we had this debate, didn't we, whether Luke Shaw was fit to play fullback, left back again, or is he what? He was brilliant yesterday. He just stood Semenyo up every time and was like, I'm going to show you down the outside, and if you want to have a foot race, then have at me. And he won, I'd say, a good 75% of his duels, which most fullbacks couldn't claim to do against Semenyo because he's immensely talented. Even Diogo Dalot didn't look. Now, Diogo Dalot got the help of Ahmed Diallo yesterday, who came back and had offered a second. Every time that someone tried to pull the ball back, Ahmed Diallo closed the space brilliantly. He worked like a Trojan yesterday, up and down. But it was just a breath of fresh air. It was nice to see United go out, and I think Amarim would have been sitting in that game, wouldn't he, and being like, right, we're the weaker team, let's try and contain City. Carrick didn't. Carrick's like, this is what we're talking. So Kieran, would you give him a 5-year contract?
Maybe 2.5.
If he could keep that going, do you think he gets a chance?
I don't think there's any reason why not. Do you know? And with the way the league is at the minute, and has been all season, it's been a mad season. I don't know if that's a reflection of the quality of the Premier League or some teams just off it this season. But it's back to it. It reminds me of seasons like watching like the Fergie era where anybody could beat anybody. Like teams weren't finishing with 80, 90, 100 points. It was a lot closer together, no matter where you go. And I think that it just shows in the where we are, and then how if a few bad results and they could drop down to 14th, 15th. But no, if Carrick, absolutely, if he said it in his interview yesterday, I thought he interviewed well as well after the game. It's like this has to be the standard, the benchmark of at least effort, performance, being upward kind of thing. I think he was alluding to, like the energy. And if he can replicate that, I said yesterday as well, it's not the Arsenal. I think it kind of is a free pass with coming into the game. I think you got to either buy ball with the City and Arsenal. They're two bad games to come into. But the way he just destroyed Man City yesterday, like they hadn't a shot on target in the second half. They had no big chances. Nothing. I think
that was key. That was key.
You know,
you talk all you want about City's defence having issues and stuff, but
you know,
they kept a very strong Manchester City attack out yesterday and allowed them nothing.
Pep Guardiola couldn't say nothing. But he said United were a better team. And no, you know, that's it. Nothing else you can say about it. But no, if he finishes the season the way he done yesterday and gets his top 4, top 5, why not give him a year?
Yeah, I think,
you know,
for me, Mum, feel free to disagree, but it isn't the result yesterday, it's the eye test.
Yeah.
You know, it was far better than what we are accustomed to. And I stand by it. I can't put my finger on an Eric Ten Hag performance that filled me full of the confidence that I felt in Manchester United yesterday. It's been years since we've seen United play with that freedom and go and take it to a team and beat them. Even under Ollie, it was a bit chaotic and it was a bit back and forth. But Carrick's United dominated City yesterday. Dominated is maybe the wrong word, because the statisticians and those who like facts and figures are going to point to it and go, oh, it was 60% possession versus 65% possession versus whatever. Yeah, but if you watch the game for 90 minutes and you don't just look at foot mode, United never looked in bother. Maybe once in the first half where we couldn't put the ball in the back of the net, and there was that panic that we expect with Manchester United that, oh God, all of our good work is going to come undone. I think I said to you guys yesterday, United will go out and blow City away for 20 minutes, and if they can't score, it's done. City will beat us.
Yeah.
But it was brilliant to see them carry it for 90 minutes.
Yeah, I agree.
So, what's your big takeaways from Carrick United? What do you think you enjoyed more about yesterday?
Well, it's the first time in a long, long time that I've sat in my chair and haven't moved and watched 90 minutes of football.
Yeah.
It was so entertaining. It's what fans want. They want their team to go out and fight, you know. But I think the key word for this Man United team going forward is consistency.
Mm-hmm.
They have to keep that performance up.
Yeah.
You can't drop it against. They'll up their game for Arsenal, but you can't drop it then when you play Wolves or West Ham. So this is the run in for the top 4 now. So the big thing that I took away was I enjoyed watching the football, and I think they enjoyed playing the football.
Yeah, there were smiles everywhere.
That's the big thing, and it was that camaraderie and high-fiving and all the rest, and that time the Casemiro jumped on Michael Carrick when the second or third goal went in, you know, that was... And I thought, Michael Carrick has come in and breathed life into that team, breathed belief into that team, and it showed yesterday on the pitch.
And his staff as well.
Yeah.
Jacqueline. His staff, Steve Haaland. His staff as well that he's brought in. Steve Haaland, is he a big United fan as well?
Yeah, I don't... Isn't he the one that fell out with Ben White?
Yeah.
Yeah, in the England squad. Yeah. And Jonathan Woodgate, I don't know what he's been doing of late, but because at the end of the day, it's down to Michael Carrick. He's the head coach or manager.
Woodgate was with Carrick at Middlesbrough.
Was he?
Yeah. Steve Haaland is new to that setup, but Jonathan Woodgate and Michael Carrick worked together before. I believe the story was that Michael Carrick, if he was taking the Manchester United job, had pitched in an interview that he would want Jonathan Woodgate to come in with him, that he needs a kind of trusted sounding board. But one of the discussions between him and Wilcox were that they would need experience, that they would need somebody who is good around people, who could manage players, who could manage egos, who could manage the training pitch, and that was Steve Haaland, I believe. I think Jason Wilcox recommended Steve Haaland based on working with him before, and they brought Haaland in for that. I mean, he needs coaches. You know, he can't rely on the likes of I think Roy Keane was writing when he had that outburst and he said about Johnny Evans. I think Keane was kind of alluding to the jobs for the boys thing. You know, Johnny Evans hasn't done really much in football. But I was thinking yesterday, it was something I was sitting thinking about last night. You see the 2 biggest clubs in the world, Real Madrid and Barcelona, right? In the last 15 to 20 years, a lot of their success has come with promoting managers that understand the make-up and build of that football club. So when you think about Carrick beating Guardiola yesterday, Guardiola was the La Masia manager, wasn't he? Didn't he manage the youth team, then the Barca B team, and then was handed the Barca A team? Now, the Barca A team was phenomenal. It was exceptional, but he was entrusted to do that. And didn't Xavi get the same deal? Managed Barcelona B, then was allowed to manage Barcelona A. And I think Luis Enrique was the same. Managed the B team, then managed the A team. And then you look at Real Madrid and the success they had under Zinedine Zidane. Zinedine Zidane was the Madrid B coach. Came up with all those egos, the new age Galacticos of Ronaldo and Bale, and had phenomenal success winning Champions Leagues. And I was just sitting thinking, maybe we're wrong. Maybe understanding the DNA, the makeup, and what made the club successful beforehand, and the football it took to make that club successful, is the key for Manchester United moving forward.
Continue.
Yeah. So to that point, what do you think? Do you think there's something to be had about understanding what a football club is, or do you think that that's nonsense? No, it should. A manager will come in and get this right. What's your thoughts on it?
Jacqueline, do you want to go first, or do you want me to go?
Yeah, okay. I think you have a point. You know, and you've referenced, you know, a few good managers there, and I agree with you. We had Ten Hag come in with his philosophy. Oh no, we'll go way back.
Moyes.
Van Gaal with his philosophy. Right?
I go back further, Mum, to David Moyes, not to interrupt you. David Moyes was so different to Alex Ferguson. It was not
for a wet weekend, though. He wasn't there any long termish. And then they have their set of players, right? Then they get sacked. Then those set of players are still there, right? And then you've some other manager come in with his philosophy, and there is a mash-up of players and styles and square pegs and round holes. I agree with you, Rory. That this could be the way forward. The DNA style. This is the way we're playing. We don't want your philosophy, or anybody else's philosophy. And if you can coach that, that's fine. You're on board.
Did Michael Carrick dispel the myth yesterday of the investment bullshit that we see peddled out now? Oh, managers can't get it right unless they're invested in, unless they get their players. Michael Carrick came into a mashed-up team yesterday, put that team together, and was brilliant against Man City. Michael Carrick managed the resources that he had and put on one of the best forms we've seen in years. Now, the key to this will be consistency. We could sit here in a couple of weeks and go, oh God, Carrick out because he can't beat the low block, or because they come up against not an Arsenal or a City, but a team that wants to dig in and they can't win. But in that one moment, I think Michael Carrick really threw shade at the Marescas and Amrams of the world to turn around and say, if you actually just put a system together with the resources that you have and you pick the right football team to play that game plan, you can achieve success.
Yeah. Square peg, square holes work.
Yeah.
You pick players that you know will be comfortable in that position and can play that position and are going to excel. Now, I thought Bruno Fernandes was brilliant yesterday because he was given that free role, you know, to pick passes, and I thought that they played as a team.
But Bruno Fernandes is an easy choice. The hard one for me was deciding that Patrick Dorgu should start over Matheus Cunha. And it was genius, because Dorgu scored. And he looked very, very good in that left wing position. That's a brave call. That is a manager that looks at it and goes, I will not bow to superstar power for the sake of it. Benjamin Sesko has scored 3 goals in 2 games, but he's not going to work in this game. It has to be Brian Mbeumo. And Matheus Cunha is a superstar, but it will not work in this game. It has to be Patrick Dorgu. I need Amad Diallo and Patrick Dorgu because they're used to playing right and left back, and that's key. Semenyo and Doku cannot be allowed to overrun the fullbacks today, or we will lose. Brilliant by Carrick. Brilliant. Tactical genius. I never seen it, and I was really annoyed about it at the start, and then I had to eat my words because Dorgu covered Shaw brilliantly and Diallo was right back there helping Diallo, as we knew he would. But I think the Dorgu one was massive, Mum.
Yeah, I think I know.
That's what I'm saying. He got it right. Yeah. Because when we all looked at the team sheet and the boys sitting on the bench, and even seen some of the snippets after the match where he had his arm around Benjamin Sesko and talking away to him. You know, so that's good man management. You know, you get your chance, you are the star, but not for this match. You know, so...
yeah.
And I mean, Martinez yesterday had Haaland in his back pocket. And
did you see him after the game?
Brilliant.
Yeah, but that's because Nicky Butt and Paul Scholes, they're what they said on that podcast.
They went too far. We're all entitled to our opinion. We could say it on a lesser platform and stuff like that, but you can't be a professional pundit and come out with what Nicky Butt did. It was just rude. There was no punditry in that. It was just ignorant that Haaland would pick him up and rub him. That was a really disgusting thing to say, and the fact that editing team must have looked at that and didn't edit that out is a really bad look on that podcast and on Nicky Butt.
Well, they're getting some flack, and rightly so.
But did you see him afterwards? It wasn't his interview. It was when he was doing this.
Yeah. What's this thing that you said?
Togetherness.
Right.
Let's just circle the wagons now. Fuck Nicky Butt and fuck Paul Scholes. It's us together.
Yeah. Absolutely, he was brilliant.
Brilliant.
Harry Maguire made a big difference in that back line as well.
Harry Maguire did.
Anything comes in. That's, when balls come into the box and corners come into the box, and you don't have a Maguire or De Ligt there, you panic. But when you have Harry Maguire or De Ligt, and then Lamans can at least catch a ball as well, gives you that bit of extra confidence or security. I'm sure it gives the Casemiro and Kobe Mainoo and his teammates take that bit of confidence as well to do their thing and go forward and attack. And go back to the selection of Patrick Dorgu. I think I noticed it for the first given goal. Like when Maguire headed it to clear from a corner, and the brilliant wee touch from Mbeumo, and then lo and behold, who was sprinting forward away from everybody else? Dorgu on the left, Mbeumo, Bruno, Ahmad on the right hand side, just pelting it down. Nobody's catching them. Clinical United goal. I think that just put the proof in the pudding for Carrick's selection of Dorgu on the left.
Yeah. I think Maguire makes a massive difference because he's got experience. But this is where I'm not going to be negative, right? This is a very, very happy day for me. I'm not, okay?
Oh, no.
But I'm really intrigued to see when they get past Man City and Arsenal and that defence isn't able to play as deep as it was. Just Harry Maguire suits a deep game. He's a fantastic header of the ball and he's a big, strong defender. He's not going to get overrun. When you come into the Fulhams and the Burnleys and the Wolves and the Leeds and all those games, you're going to have to step forward and play a higher line because you need to break the low block. And that's where I'm really intrigued to see how Michael Carrick handles that, because that's been a big issue at Manchester United. When the younger lads are on, they make a few mistakes, and when the older lads are on, the Maguires and the Litts, they aren't really as quick as the younger lads. So, yeah, that'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see, as we've seen in the Bournemouth game, when we try and be proactive under Carrick's United, are we going to get caught? Are we going to suffer a couple of goals to try and score goals type thing, or has Michael Carrick thought about this and has he got a game plan? His tactical game plan was brilliant yesterday, but what were the balloons?
No idea. I was wondering, what the hell is that?
What the okay, yeah, does Carrick have a game plan to overcome
victory balloon?
Victory balloon, that's it. Yeah, it's been a long time. Yeah, sorry, can Carrick beat the smaller teams is what I'm saying, who won't come and do what Man City did, who will force a Harry Maguire to play on the halfway line? And what happens there?
I'll say the next 5 games, like I said yesterday, it's Fulham, then Spurs, West Ham and Everton after Arsenal.
Yeah,
they'll be the telling games of, replicate the energy and the pace and the performance in them types of games. I would give Carrick, I think he'd be in good stead now to finish in the top 4 and maybe make it an extra year or 2.
Yeah, the Spurs could have a new manager by that stage.
Hopefully not.
There are 3 managers that they're saying could go. Oliver Glasner's out, but will not be tolerated. Oliver Glasner's gone. I think he wanted sacked yesterday and he has nailed himself on now to be sacked. After that, they can't keep him. He has to go. Thomas Frank will go. Can't do that.
No.
And he's starting to sound deluded now. He just doesn't have the answers. And Slot is heavily rumoured to get. Slot is under serious pressure because of the availability of Xabi Alonso.
Well, yeah. I love going on the podcast when Liverpool lose, right? And they're unanimous in Slot out.
Yeah.
They didn't even lose either. They drew.
Yeah.
They're 4th in the Premier League. They're still there in the FA Cup. They're in a decent position in the Champions League and they're talking about getting rid of their manager. That's entitlement gone wrong.
Yeah, but who has, what do you call it? Credit in the bank because he won in the Premier League.
He won the Premier League. But without the winning of the Premier League, he's not doing a bad job. They're just not the team of last year.
They're talking about the style of football, Rory. that it's not good enough. The fans are. The deluded ones.
I don't know. If Slot goes, then football has lost an element of credibility, in my opinion. Like, not to defend the Liverpool manager by any means, but winning the Premier League is the ultimate excuse to be given time as a football manager. We gave the Portuguese doom clown 18 months to do absolutely fuck all. He finished 15th. He came into this season, got tanked by Grimsby, and still, as fans, we were on a podcast discussing how we should keep that idiot. Yeah. And the Liverpool fans are saying, oh, the style of football is poor, so get rid of Slot. No. Your style of football won you a league last year. You're fourth in the Premier League. Or element of camp. Yeah. We're a team that were able to flip and get ourselves up into fifth and then look at our style of play because there wasn't one. That's a difference. We didn't have a manager that won a Premier League last year.
Exactly.
Madness. It's a bit like Maresca. I don't think Maresca should have been hounded out of Chelsea. I think that was a bit... Well, Maresca didn't help himself, but it was nuts the pressure he was put under.
Yeah, but that's what Chelsea do, though. We've seen that how many times over the years. Chelsea managers getting hounded out and sacked or getting swapping and changing very, very quickly. Yeah,
they're almost ambition gone wrong. If you're not winning the Premier League, then they're rid of you. Even if you're, I don't think the Americans fully understand, the Premier League structure yet, and the triumph of getting into the Champions League. I think they see it like the NFL: you either win the Super Bowl or you don't.
Yeah. But it could be an interesting few weeks now within the manager side of things after yesterday.
Yeah, I think so. Do you know what? Manchester United might have thrown a few managers' performances into the light now by Michael Carrick coming in and getting it so right. But then, as buzzing as I am as a Manchester United fan, right, this has to be said, it was one game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our heads are in the minutes, but right back down to earth next Sunday.
I think we're buzzing because Fletcher did nothing. Fletcher came in and tried to play armour and ball. It was too narrow. There were 3-10s playing against Brighton. He couldn't figure out why it wasn't working. He just didn't look like he had a game plan. Michael Carrick honed his talents at Middlesbrough, right? And I've always thought this. It must be frustrating for a Carrick or a McKenna or even Enzo Maresca to an extent when he's at Leicester, right? And you know that you have a game plan. And you know that you know football and that you could get a real song out of a team, but then you've got the limitations of playing with no disrespect to the Middlesbrough team. Mm-hmm. And you're kind of punching above your weight, but they can't do what they want to do because they don't have the talent. And I wonder, is Michael Carrick looking at this team going, I have a real chance to show everybody that I actually am a really good coach and a really good manager, and I know my game plan will work. I just needed the components to make it work. And maybe where Ruben Amorim looked at an island of misfit toys, as you alluded to, Mum, maybe Michael Carrick's looking at it going, no, this is a really, really strong team and we can do something with it.
There's quality.
There is.
It's... I know, and it's like... Properly. Yeah, exactly. And, I know, Ray, you're not a big Bruno Fernandes fan, but if he does he stay in the summer or do they cash in? That's another question. Because look at what he can do when he's played in the proper role yesterday. And
he was brilliant yesterday. He's brilliant with giving that free role.
Yeah, and if he comes the summer and maybe they decide to keep him for a year, we'll give you a year, and they give him, in that system, if they give the midfielders, Casemiro goes, a few players go. Like if we can get rid of Dallo, if you get a few more quality players to play the United way, does it even improve Carrick even more next year? Do they play even better, more consistently?
Yeah, I mean, I've always said that Bruno Fernandes is a fantastically talented footballer, but I don't yesterday he was very, very good, Kieran. Very good in that role. He was very good. A couple of things that he tried were just keep the ball, a wee bit better. The pass and the break for Mbeumo was very good, that ball into him. The first one he played into Mbeumo was Bruno Fernandes all over. He wanted to shoot. The shooting opportunity wasn't there. And the ball he played to Brian Mbeumo was pathetic. And then instead of acknowledging his poor pass, he exploded on Brian Mbeumo, who gave it back in spades to him, saying, no, that was your pass. You fluffed the pass. You played a soft wee touch into me and I had no chance of getting to it. Stop shouting on me. And I think Bruno Fernandes and Brian Mbeumo were two adults, so they added and they played better. I don't think Bruno Fernandes does stuff that Cunha couldn't do. Is the easiest way I could put that. And I don't think you need Bruno Fernandes at 30 years of age to be stealing minutes from Matheus Cunha. In fact, I think with the pace and guile and talent that Cunha has, Cunha could surpass Bruno Fernandes in terms of what he could give the team if he was playing in the 10. So I would cash in, bro. I still would. I'm not convinced by... I was saying to Mum when we were over watching the Brighton game, all of the positive elements of Bruno Fernandes came out when Shea Lacey came onto the pitch. I seen Ugarte, and I think it was Manu, turned around and looked for the wide pass, and it was Shea Lacey, and they were afraid to give him the ball just in case he done something with it. Bruno Fernandes kept picking the ball up and just fizzing it to him in deep positions and encouraging him to run at people. And I thought that was brilliant. I thought that was just like, that is how the older guards should treat the young fellas. Give them a bit of confidence, assure him that you believe in him, and then see what he can do. And he was brilliant in that respect. So a lot of what I say about his yapping and stuff, you see the good elements to him. I just don't think he's needed as much as we want him to stay. So I would move him on.
No, that's fair enough. Like we do, we are.
He scored 2 goals yesterday.
What did he?
Yeah, well, one was a penalty, but he scored 2 goals for the under-21s.
Fair play.
No, not yesterday, the day before, sorry.
I mean, Shea Lacey could be good in that system. You know, if you're going to play with free-flowing wingers who get at teams and stuff like that, that's Shea Lacey's game, isn't it? So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to make it about Bruno Fernandes again. We've had the negatives, we've had the positives. He was unreal yesterday. He was so good in the free role. Brilliant. I just don't know if Manchester United could get that money in and reinvest it. Like in that system that we seen yesterday, where does Mount and Cunha play? They have to be 10s.
That's what I'm saying. We're coming down with 10s here.
Yeah.
We really are. Jallo, Mbumo and Dorgu are probably the wide players I would look at.
Yeah. But you have a lot of players that can play the 10 there as well. You know, there's 4 or 5 in particular, but you can look at it that way, and then you can say, you know, going back, how many, and you look at the bench and you have quality to replace quality. You know.
Yeah, see, that's why I was impressed yesterday with that.
Yeah.
We had players on the bench that could turn the game. Didn't need to, but we had players sitting on the bench.
Yeah,
you know,
it showed just.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, you know, if you're, whether it's Mount starting or Cunha starting or Ahmad, whoever it is, and the other players, like so Assess was on the bench, or maybe Brandon Boomer was on the bench, or you know you're going to come on at some stage to change the game, bring bigger energy and impact the game, which Cunha did brilliantly for the cameo he came on yesterday, and Mount scored a goal rather just let it go. Do you know?
Yeah.
But it's having them players to swap in out like for like, quality for quality, that can come on, assist and score. So you're going to get minutes in every game. You're not going to start every game. You'll start the odd game. It's just about rotating around, keeping fresh, and you're going to come on anyway and helping the team. And you know that's why it's important that Jose Martinez is going like this together. We have to be together as a team. And one of the big things I noticed yesterday was attacking as a team and defending as a team. And we got the dividends of it yesterday. And that's up. Yeah. And that's one of the key principles I think that has to be going forward if we're going to do anything for the rest of the season. But I think Carrick knows enough. You know, he's played in Manchester United team for, you know, in that holding midfielder role. He knows what it's like to be a player. You know, and he's coaching very well so far. You know, I think he's undefeated as United manager. He's beat Pep. He's beat Emery. He's beat.
Yeah, I read that. When he was caretaker manager, he had a pretty good record until he was replaced.
Mm-hmm. And he's beat Arteta's Arsenal his last game. So,
what does Michael Carrick have to do to be given the chance next year, or is it a case of no, Michael Carrick is the interim coach and we're going for somebody new?
And he's available.
Who would you take?
Well, I read an article during the week that Ancelotti has said
No.
he would like to. No, wait here. He would like to coach United before he retires.
Brilliant. Of course he would. He's the Brazil manager. It's a huge payday for Ancelotti.
Yeah.
Huge.
What I would do is, if Michael Carrick can get us into top 4, yeah. Short term, not 5
What do you-
something like that.
If you bring in Carlo Ancelotti, right, you're in the same position as we are now in 2 years. Carlo Ancelotti is at the end. I don't know why he's being linked to Manchester United.
No.
And Carlo Ancelotti, anybody who comes in that door is going to want to build something for themselves. I don't think this current Manchester United squad can win the Premier League. I don't think they're better than Arsenal. They beat City yesterday, but they're not better than City. And you could argue that the squad isn't as robust as Liverpool's is. And if we had the other complications over the full season, I don't think this team could go the distance, okay? So Carlo Ancelotti will need to build that for 2 years. In 2 years' time, he'll have built it and then he's gone.
Yeah.
I don't want Ancelotti, and I don't want Thomas Tuchel. I don't think Thomas Tuchel has fallen out with every board and every club that he has managed. Are people forgetting this?
Yeah.
Yapped his way out of PSG, chased from Chelsea. No. And then who else did I see mentioned quite heavily?
With Glasner.
Poch.
Poch.
Yeah.
No.
I think if it's going to be if not Carrick, I think.
Oliver Glasner intrigues me.
But listen, I see Glasner, but doesn't Glasner play the same system as Amram?
Yeah, only at Crystal Palace. Glasner won the European Cup with Frankfurt playing 4-2-3-1.
Oh,
It's a means thing with Oliver Glasner. He finds a formation and a system that suits the squad that he has.
yeah, he wasn't happy about Mark Gahey the day before a game. He was fuming, wasn't he?
Who would be? Who would be? Like he has to take some sort of step back here and realise that is the club that he came into, Kieran, because they are a club that is going to sell their players.
Absolutely.
But in Oliver Glasner's time at Crystal Palace, right, they have lost Mikel Olise, Eberechi and Mark Gahey. That's huge. That's three world-class talents. Pardon?
Mateta as well, looks like as well.
Mateta's going, and he looked like he's going to go in January. So if you were Oliver Glasner, you would be having a meltdown. What's the goal here? You know, that's a man that got them into European football and delivered a trophy, and he's just being absolutely ripped apart by his board, and his team is being sold off for parts. It would be very frustrating. So should he have ranted the way he did? Probably not. Is it the same as what we've seen from Amram? Probably not. So who would you take? Are you saying Ancelotti, Mum?
No, I'm just saying I read an article.
Who would you take?
Me? Bless you.
Thank you.
I don't know. He's available.
Regardless of who's available, who would you take?
Carrick.
Huh?
So there's nobody available. Stick with Michael Carrick.
Forget availability. It's Manchester United. Who would you take?
Anybody. Play FIFA.
Because I love this available comment. It's like, who would you take? Oh, there's nobody available. Okay, right. Well, if they weren't available, who would you take?
I could take Enrique.
Luis Enrique.
Yeah.
Luis Enrique would be a shout. Luis Enrique has won wherever he's gone, and did a fantastic job of rebuilding PSG. Luis Enrique is a shout. Another one. I'd say Luis Enrique.
McKenna.
Again.
Hey? Yeah, I'm trying to make a point here, Mum, that it's okay to turn around and say that, but then when you sit and think about it, you won't come up with anybody.
Yeah.
You're taking Kieran McKenna.
It's tough, isn't it? Really tough.
He's the only one I would take.
Exactly. So it becomes this maddening thing where it's like, what agenda are they trying to push in the media? United need an experienced calm hand like Thomas Tuchel, Carlo Ancelotti or Mauricio Pochettino. 3 managers that had to go into international management because they couldn't cut at the club level, and that's what United need to drive them forwards. Would you shut the fuck up?
Yeah.
Like, that is the most nonsensical thing I've ever heard.
I'll tell you who I don't want. Gareth Southgate.
I tell you what Gareth's doing the rounds, right? Because what Gareth Southgate did really well in the England setup was take chaos and make it calm. He calmed the waters, right? But international management is a part-time job, okay? They take teams of players who are being trained and coached by other men, and women, sorry, move them into a setup and pick a formation and a team to go out and compete maybe 15, 16 times a year. And then somehow earn enough points by doing a good job at it to be considered for some of the biggest jobs in football. I don't get that.
No, I don't like to go from international and then try and translate that club.
Neither do I. If Thomas Tuchel, or if you gave me Kieran McKenna against Thomas Tuchel and Gareth Southgate, and you said, oh, well, Southgate made the European finals and he got into the semi-finals of the World Cup, and Thomas Tuchel has taken England deep into the World Cup and he gets to the final or he wins it or whatever, I'd still argue with you that Kieran McKenna is a more solid choice if he gets a switch up into the Championship, because Kieran McKenna will have managed a full schedule of English football, more games than we play in the Premier League, which could offset the lack of a cup run that they're going on, and that gives you a basis to judge Kieran McKenna. How can you judge Thomas Tuchel or Gareth Southgate based on what they do in the England setups? I've never understood that. I wouldn't go near an international manager until they went to another club and showed me what they can do.
Yeah.
But Southgate couldn't cut it at Middlesbrough.
No.
I'd argue with you and say neither could Carrick.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. You know.
Do you know what I mean?
Sorry, international managers, like you forget as well. I know that they're far less of a schedule, but they're playing with the best crop of players from that country as well. They all know each other.
Yeah.
You know, makes the job far easier. Everybody knows each other. Everybody gets along, and you have the best in class of that team, especially if you're the England manager, and the talent you have to put out on the pitch. You're going to win most of your games, regardless. So it's not any. That's another big reason why I wouldn't want Southgate or whoever is managing the England team to manage Manchester United.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not a fan of international coaches. I also think, to your point, Mum, that people need to stop looking at what people have done and successes in other leagues and stuff like that. Xabi Alonso was the king of Europe for what he did at Bayer Leverkusen. Couldn't get Real Madrid working. Arne Slot won the Premier League last year, and now he can't get Liverpool playing, that he's trying to implement his methods. Stop using elements of success in other areas. Ruben Amorim was the king of Portugal and was a fucking disaster at Manchester United. I think people should be looking at what Carrick maybe tried to do at Middlesbrough and whether it would fit Manchester United. And when they interviewed him and Ollie and the two of them spoke, probably had similar ideas on what to do, but they went with Michael Carrick. It doesn't matter what they've done, just make sure that it culturally fits the football club and that the system accommodates the players that you have. That's all I want. I want to be entertained. If Carrick doesn't win anything, fair enough. If he keeps playing that style of football and they can do that against Leeds like they did against Man City, I'm a Carrick fan. Because I really enjoyed watching Manchester United try and beat Man City yesterday, and that was the big thing for it. They didn't sit in and accept City as a bigger team. They tried to beat Man City, and it was brilliant to watch. I haven't seen it in years. I haven't seen Manchester United go out against a City or an Arsenal or a Liverpool in years and just think, you know what, let's just play our football and see if we beat them.
You know,
and they did.
It reminded me of United playing City back in 2001. You know, back in the days where City came up from the Championship or something and just bother them. Yeah. You know.
Yeah, I mean, even advancing on when City were in their pomp and they used to have some real ding-dong battles with United and you couldn't tell what way it went. Michael Owen's last gasp goal against Man City, it had that element about it where it was just I think the commentator said at half-time when it was 0-0, right, irregardless of the result, it was a brilliant game of football.
Yeah.
It was an exciting game of football. It was just great to watch, and Manchester United were entertaining, and Man City are a brilliant football team who will always entertain you if that's your style of football, that passing nonsense. But it was a really good clash of styles yesterday because United had a style about them. They were switching the play. They were moving Man City onto one side of the pitch and bringing their players over and then fizzing it out to Diallo or fizzing it out to Dorgu or out to one of the fullbacks and moving the whole game to the other side of the pitch. It was brilliant. It was, I said again, Alex Ferguson-esque. Yeah. And Michael Carrick played in those teams and obviously wanted to implement that style. And I think he did a brilliant job of it.
Yeah. And that's, you know, playing in them teams, he knows, like the back of his hand, how to play them systems and what he learned coming through the United ranks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's just ingrained in him, especially sitting in the midfield, how to control the game, how to, you know, instead of like Ollie was, you know, Ollie done some brilliant things when he managed United, and, you know, some of the football was fantastic. But Ollie's a striker as well. You know, when you've experienced head like Carrick was always the calm head. He knew how to control the game of football, play the attack way, find the attackers. You know, using his experience as well in those situations as well really helps, I think, as well. And, you know, I'm looking forward to the Arsenal game, and I hope we can see, because we should have beat them in the first game of the season. But it'll be interesting to see now how we go on from next week, and then into the Fulhams and the West Hams and Evertons again, where we failed miserably with 10 men.
Yeah.
Can't score against.
I will see how we get on out here. It could be bad again.
Yeah, so we don't, you know, that's what they said in the studio in Sky Sports yesterday, you know, we'll be sitting next week and saying, oh, we need a new interim for that interim. You know what I mean? And I was like, I can't even be mad at that, because
I'm going to give my 2 cents here, man. I believe in Michael Carrick. I think Michael Carrick in one game, one performance, ripped apart this nonsense that Manchester United need to evolve as a football club, and that Manchester United need to forget the Ferguson way. No, they don't. Ferguson played football the Matt Busby way. He brought youth players through, he played wing play, and he caught you on the break and ruined you for making mistakes. Alex Ferguson played with fast wingers, and he caught you on the break and ruined you for making mistakes. Michael Carrick played yesterday against Man City with wingers, and he ruined Man City for making mistakes. So United does have a history and a DNA and a philosophy, and I think that we need to stop trying to change that and just embrace it and just be that.
Yeah, and like you just said there, like it goes past Fergie. You know, it doesn't. It's back in the day, the Laws and Bests and Chartons. It goes back to that, the entertaining wing play. You know, high intensity, energy. That's just the way United should play, and have always played when there's been in successful eras. So I think
that's the word here. Eras.
Yeah. And
Matt Busby did it, and then it failed for 20 years. Then Alex Ferguson did it with the same method. He brought talented players into the football club to nurture the kids, and he played with young lads who understood exactly what it meant to play for Manchester United, and through grit and fight and determination with a lot of talent, they beat everyone around them. And Manchester United should get back to that. Stop trying to buy the European talents that are going to sell shirts. Stop bringing in the foreign managers who don't understand what this football club is, and start playing a few more of those youth players who have actually grown up in this setup, and prioritising them opposed to the players that you know aren't going to play in the future. I don't want to see Joshua Zirkzee play for United again, not when Shea Lacey's available.
No.
I'd rather see Shea Lacey be given Joshua Zirkzee's minutes. I don't think I want to see as much of Casemiro as we're seeing. I would love to see us bring somebody in that maybe could play in that position with Kobe Mainoo, although Kobe Mainoo is a youth player. Casemiro was phenomenal yesterday. But look, anyway, I'm not going to get into that whole tirade, but I think you mentioned eras, and eras is the key point. In each era where Manchester United have fallen by the wayside and had to correct themselves, a British manager has come in, looked at it and went, why are we forgetting who we are? Yeah. Why do we think that wing play, counter-attack and football and the United of old way has to evolve or die, or something else has to be reborn? For X amount of years now, they've failed trying to evolve. And Carrick threw it right back to the start again yesterday, and they beat Man City. So I just hope that Michael Carrick does talk to Alex Ferguson, and that all this nonsense around Ferguson's influence and talking to Ferguson and you can't be this and you can't be that dies. Manchester United have a history. Just embrace it.
Right. Well, there's nothing wrong with embracing it, and Carrick's his own person as well. I'm sure he has his own ideas and his own tactical things, and he can implement. But the baseline, I think, has to be what you just said. There is, the attacking, the wing play, the counter attacking, everything that United is known for. But there's like I said, Carrick is, I think, a very good man manager as well. You pointed it out earlier there with Sesko, who had scored 3 in 2 games and didn't get on. Had the arm around him, after him. It's that kind of approachability and like comfortability with the players. He's been a player. I think it all can blend together if he keeps this. Like we said, one game. If we keep this going, I think it could be magical. Hopefully, but I'm trying not to get too high on the hopium and but positive vibes after that from City yesterday.
So we've Arsenal next.
Yep.
They didn't look overly inspiring against Nottingham Forest yesterday. They really struggled with the team that dug in against them.
Yeah, they didn't look very good now, to be honest. Gyökeres has been haven't been too impressed with them, to be honest.
So to finish out then for this week, Mum, you are the experienced head of our podcast, right? And you were one of the bigger ones that said that we need to stop giving jobs to the boys. We need to stop living in the past, and the Manchester United does need to change, right? After everything that you've seen and Carrick's performance yesterday, do you think that what Kieran and I are saying is correct as younger Manchester United fans, that maybe we should just hold on to our heritage? Or are you still in the frame of thinking that no, the right manager will come in and get this right?
Well, you should know by now. Don't listen to me. I don't know anything. I don't know.
Give yourself a bit of credit.
Yeah. No. On reflection, I have to say that that's what I said. Yesterday, apart from the times we visited Old Trafford, is the first time I can remember in a long, long time sitting in my chair for 90 minutes. And I want to be able to sit in my chair for 90 minutes for every match.
Yeah.
I want to be entertained. Now, I mean, we went to the Brighton game and we had a great weekend. We really did. But the amount of money that we spent, do you know what I'm saying?
It's expensive.
Ross.
Yeah, the Brighton game was tough. Really tough.
Yeah, well, actually, you said it, Rory, that the guy behind us, the season ticket holder, had said that he's thinking of giving up his season ticket.
Yeah, that was. I think I was talking to Kieran about this as well. I just couldn't believe how toxic it was in Old Trafford. And you'd season ticket holders talking about not renewing their tickets. You had people protesting against the ownership. You had young lads getting the ball like Lenny Yoro and even Benjamin Sesko, and just the atmosphere when they touched the ball, I thought, they can hear that. That must be so off-putting, to be so afraid to make a mistake because the crowd is just so hostile towards you. And I think if Carrick can turn the atmosphere... And did anyone, as a last thing, did anyone hear Lisandro Martinez afterwards where he said that Michael Carrick told them that they should feed off the noise of the crowd?
Yeah,
that if the crowd starts...
It was brilliant yesterday.
If the crowd starts to go down or if the crowd starts to dip, get them up, try something, go forwards. And I think that was Martinez's big searching ball. Do you remember the one where he played in Bruno Fernandes, but Fernandes got pulled for offside? And it was kind of like Man City had been doing a few things and starting to come back into the game. Martinez split the whole game with a pass, and then it was like, oh no, wait, we're still a threat here.
Yeah.
Brilliant to see. A real throwback to the Manchester United of old. Give the fans what they want. It's Old Trafford. Go out, enjoy yourselves, try and beat them. So yeah, we'll be back next week to talk about the Arsenal game. I know this was very dominated by the performance and stuff there was, but I think it is important to jump on when you see something that's like, it's been years waiting for that.
Yeah.
Years, literal years.
Like, when have we had a purely positive podcast since we've started? Come on.
Like Rory losing his mind.
Yeah,
God, I
know it's entertaining, like us all losing our minds on here and arguing, but like it's nice to come on and all positive vibes.
Even when we won big games, even when we would win big games and we would sit and we would go, yeah, but you just know that that was a fluke. You just know that everything, the universe reached out and was like, right, okay, give them something. You know, let them pass this.
Yeah.
Let that one hit the crossbar in the final. The Newcastle game. And then with the exact same squad from Newcastle to that, I think it just goes to show everyone how vital the manager is to football clubs as well. How different it was under Michael Carrick yesterday. Like, they got rid of Amram, they brought in Fletcher, no real change, changed the system, didn't work. Everyone was in the media saying, they went to the forward back and they're still crap and Amram must be buzzing and stuff. And then you look at yesterday and it's like, no, United can play football, it just takes the right man. So, thanks for listening to this. Please like us on the social medias. It is free to subscribe, so hit the subscribe if you want to listen to more shite that we talk on a weekly basis. And we will be back to discuss the Arsenal game on Wednesday, yeah?
Yeah, whatever.
Sunday.
Today is Sunday, Mum, yes. Maybe go and have another cup of coffee. We're talking about the next podcast.
Next Sunday.
The next episode.
That's when the game is. We're still talking about the next podcast. Okay, Mum's going to go have a cup of coffee. Kieran, you enjoy your Sunday.
I just put Sunday there.
Not a coffee.
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 Bye, everyone.
Bye, folks.